Good evening and welcome to HC Highlanders Live. I am Jason Muker, Associate AD for Compliance and Communications. Going solo tonight, our AD, Matthew Webb, unable to join us, but we do have a special guest that will be joining me in a few minutes. Just want to give you some updates, what's going on. Typically, we're in our new normal, not so normal state of working at home. Obviously, most of you out there are doing the same thing. We're still going strong, anticipating returning in the fall, but obviously that's up to local authorities, up to what's happening with everything going on with the coronavirus, all of that kind of up in the air, but really in a hopeful state right now for the college, for our country, for our department and our student athletes, obviously. But other things still are moving. Coaches are still communicating with their student athletes from home. A lot of these type of Zoom meetings, a lot of recruiting still going on, filling up those rosters for the next year. And so we're excited and hopeful. Some other things going on for the college. We have a lot of our student athletes who are seniors this year are going to be graduating. Classes have pretty much wrapped up for the spring, albeit in a different format than we expected. Friday is baccalaureate. 6:30 p.m. That will be online, so you can watch that. Professors Doug Gardy, Sarah Dirk, Peter Mylander are going to bring reflections as they are the speakers for the baccalaureate ceremony Friday at 6:30, and then commencement Saturday, May 9th at 10 a.m. Commencement speaker Ambassador Deborah Burks will be speaking. So student athletes who have graduated will be participating in that. Tonight, though, we have someone who is not yet graduating. Jenna Bittinger, her sister, though, Allie will be graduating, but Jenna is finishing up her sophomore year at the college. She is a member of the volleyball team. Jenna, welcome.
Hi.
Well, tell us a little bit. I said you're on the volleyball team. Talk to us a little bit about your background growing up and what sports you were involved in, maybe your family a little bit.
So you already mentioned I have a sister. She's a senior at Houghton. She's my only sibling. We grew up on a horse farm, went to school. We played a bunch of sports, but volleyball is really the only one that stuck. And then played through high school. She went to college. I didn't think I would end up following her to college, but I did. Yeah. The fun part about growing up was being on the horse farm, I think, with a bunch of animals and stuff. And then we moved into a cabin in the woods. So we definitely downsized. No animals now except for a dog and living out in the woods.
Awesome. Sounds like an awesome upbringing. What you said your sister was here, but you didn't think you would come to follow her. But what did bring you? What was attractive about Houghton that brought you here?
So really a lot of people pushed me to go to Houghton and then also Messiah College. And it wasn't until my visit at Houghton where I met the volleyball coach and met with some professors in the departments I was looking at that I really loved the community, and I kind of felt like that was more of a home to me than what I wanted my home to look like. I didn't think I would want to go far from home. It's about 5 hours from where I live. And I really didn't want to follow my sister because, I don't know, I just felt like people would say, oh, you're just going where your sister's going. But yeah, after my first visit there, my official visit, it was just like dead set. That's where God wants me to be.
And what was that first year like?
My first year was really fun. I definitely broke out of my shell. I made so many new friends. The volleyball team going in there in the fall with a group of girls that I already knew helped so much. And then the classes were so interesting. I learned a lot. I went to a public school, so I never got to see faith be put into the classroom, and professors praying and just relating their lectures to the Bible was so cool to me. It just a whole new outlook on education.
And that was your freshman year. Talk a little bit about the transition from your freshman year into the sophomore year. You had a new coach coming in. What was that like? And then talk about the season. It was a great season. You guys really exceeded expectations. You guys probably thought you were going to do that well, but had a great year. Talk a little bit about that transition from freshman to sophomore.
So freshman to sophomore year, It was a little rocky with the coach scenario just because Coach Cole wasn't doing so well, so we weren't sure what was going to be happening. And then whenever we found out we were having a male coach, I was a little bit set back because I've only been coached by females, and I was like, oh no, how hard is he going to push us? Is he going to be super mean or super strict? Is he going to think like we're these tough, strong girls that can do anything? So I was nervous going into my sophomore year, and school-wise, academics, I was really excited just because I was getting into more of my major courses. So I had a lot of gen eds out of the way. I was really interested in the classes I was taking. But then once we got to preseason and we got to know Coach a little bit, it was like, whoa, this dude is so cool. Like, he made season so fun. He wasn't as scary as he looks, or whenever I first met him, I thought he was super scary. But season, how we did, yeah, we did do really well. I think that we didn't know how well we would do until we started playing. Coach really helped us push ourselves, and he really motivated us to realize how good we could be. And we had a tournament, I think it was our first tournament of the season, that we ended up undefeated. And afterwards, I just remember myself personally being like, we just went undefeated against these teams that seemed so much better than us. And there was another game in the early season that I went in there thinking, there's no way, after warmups, thinking, like, we can't even touch this team. And then after the game, we ended in 5 sets. We did lose, but we were like the closest loss possible to winning. And coach afterwards said, you guys just blew me away. Like, it took us a little bit to realize what we were capable of doing. So in the beginning, I don't know that we knew how well we would do, but as we started going, we realized, wow, our team is capable. And that was really cool to see.
Awesome. You guys, obviously you made it to the conference tournament, which was great. Another thing with your sophomore year is you got a phone call from a local school. And tell us a little bit about how you became a high school teacher while you're still a sophomore in college. Tell us a little bit about this whole thing about you going to work at Houghton Academy.
So it was about 2 weeks before preseason. I got an email from a professor, my Spanish professor, and he said, well, he sent it to a few other students that are Spanish education majors, and he said, hey, the academy is in need for an interim teacher. I don't know many details, but if you contact the principal, he can give you some. And I got that email. I was like, an interim teacher, I wonder what that like involves. So I emailed him, and I was in contact with him and had some phone calls and prayed about it a lot, and then figured, why not step into this? I did have to make some sacrifices. I had to change my class schedule a little bit, and then also had to move around my 4-year plan. I was supposed to study abroad this year, but that didn't work out because it was a year commitment of teaching at the academy. And then I had my interview the first day of move-in at Houghton, and then I got it, and I teach Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 at Houghton Academy, 9th and 10th graders. It was a really good experience, or is a good experience. I'm still teaching. So yeah, I love that God put that opportunity into place, and it's been super cool.
So how did that affect your schedule, the balance of the time and practice and classes and everything like that?
In the fall, I'm not really sure how I did it, because whenever I think about the fact of having practices every day and games twice a week and every weekend, I look back like, wow, Jenna, you really did that. I did get rid of one class off of my schedule. I didn't need to be taking it, and I just felt like if I get rid of one class, I'm teaching these, it'll kind of balance out. It won't be too stressful in the fall. And then I had to move another class to a different section to be a different time, because it was 2 hours in the middle of the day that I would go over to the academy. It was 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock about. And so I would have class in the morning, walk over to the academy, and then come back to class. Some of the days it was a really close, like 10-minute time difference where I had to go and eat lunch in my college classroom. But yeah, I think the hardest part was balancing whether or not I did my own homework or planned my students' homework and lessons. And it took a couple of weeks, or maybe a couple months, I don't know, to figure out the time management of, okay, this is my set time for teaching and this is my set time for my schooling.
Okay. And what is your ultimate goal with once you leave here in a couple of years? What are you hoping to do career wise?
Coming into college, I was just expecting to become a Spanish teacher in a high school. But as I take different courses and really start to love the Spanish language and start to love all that I can do with teaching, I don't know that I just want to stop at just teaching at a high school level in a public schooling system. I could use I could use my Spanish speaking abilities for so many different things. So I'll definitely start out just Spanish teaching, and then we'll just have to see where God takes me, if that's dealing with translating or traveling and working or working with immigrant families. I don't know.
Okay, awesome. Obviously, the spring was a little crazy for everybody. You were anticipating building up to do your off-season, non-traditional season in the spring with the volleyball team. That didn't happen. Talk a little bit about that transition of what you missed out this spring with your team, and then how you've transitioned back home to stay connected with the team and your coach, and also how you've balanced teaching online, learning online, and all that that's kind of put everything up in the air.
Yeah, so the day that we ended up coming or being told that we would do remote learning was supposed to be our first day of spring season, and we were so excited for this spring season. The girls would text and coach would text like 9 more days, 8 more days, and then it came down to it, and we went home. But I know the 2 days right before we came home, our team got together and we did end up practicing, and well, not practicing, but the girls went and we ended up just doing like an open gym type thing. And even like I mentioned earlier, my sister is a senior. We did a little fake graduation ceremony for her and her friends just because we didn't know what the future looked like. So we were just making the most of the last 2 or 3 days at Houghton. And then coming home, I felt at peace just knowing that I'd be missing the end of the semester. I was a little bit stressed, wondering, do I have to stay at Houghton to teach? Where will I live? But then within a few days, we found out that the academy was going to be doing remote learning too. So we were at home. I don't necessarily think I missed out on much other than being physically at Houghton with my friends. And I do miss that spring season. That would have been a blast just to get back with all the girls. We see each other often, but playing volleyball with them is different than just hanging out.
What's a typical day like for you at home with school, with teaching, with learning, and just how you're with your family?
So coming home, it was a lot to get used to doing school at home. I had taken online classes before in high school, but a full schedule of online classes plus teaching it took a little bit for me to get a schedule set of I need to work on this time and that time. And for my students, I have to Zoom with them at least. Well, I was doing every day, but now I'm just doing 2 days a week just to keep them on track with their studies and what they're learning. And then some of my classes did Zoom classes as well. Others were just the teachers would send the lectures. So up until yesterday, almost every day was spent sitting in my room doing schoolwork. I really do enjoy doing schoolwork. So now that it's over, I don't know what to do with myself. It's kind of like, I'm really bored now that I can't keep busy with these papers and studying for exams and stuff. But I do still teach. So I'm looking forward to keeping myself busy with that and with grading their assignments and stuff. Other than school, we live out in the woods, like I said, so just been hanging out here, going for walks, going for runs, um, tinkering around the house. I like to organize and clean, so I've been keeping myself busy with different chores that make me not bored, because what else can you do whenever you
Yeah.
can't go visit friends?
So, I mean, hopefully the fall is back to normal and you're back preseason and you got a full volleyball season. What are you anticipating? What are you hoping this next fall looks like for you and the team and Houghton College?
I'm really excited for the fall. The girls on the team are my best friends, and we did lose a lot of seniors this year. But the freshmen that came in last year were amazing, and they fit in right away. And we're actually We've been doing team devos since being home once a week, every Wednesday. Actually, right after this, we have devos, and I think most of the team is watching because as soon as this is over, we have our team devos. And we've been able to meet some of the incoming freshmen, so I'm really excited for what the fall looks like. It will look different because we did lose a lot of our key players that played last year. But all of the girls seem to be super motivated, and we're like a family. So to me, I don't necessarily care about winning. I think it's just so fun to compete with our best friends on the court and just to show like what we can do. So I am really looking forward to see what we can accomplish next year and how we can motivate ourselves to do even better and push ourselves.
Great. Thanks, Jenna, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. And hang in there this spring. Have a great summer, and we hope to see you back here in the fall. And are you going to teach again in the fall, or do you don't know anything about that yet?
Sadly, no, I won't
Okay.
be able to just because of course schedule, but thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in the fall, hopefully.
See you in fall.